Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us on CFRE Radio. I'm Tony, and we have a very special guest with us today, Mr. Brandon Saller from ATREYU. How you doing today, Brandon?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm great. Just, going through the motions of the day and crushing it. We're enjoying the sunlight, so we're all looking up
Lovely.
from here.
Lovely.
Awesome. So I'm super stoked about this new record. The first couple tracks that you've released, awesome. Like it's just such a vibe as you guys have been dropping for the last 2 decades or so. At least like, oh man, it's crazy. Like being a fan for this long, it just feels like a lifetime at this point. You know what I mean?
For sure. We've grown up together.
That's it, man. Like I feel like you're a friend at this point, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, I've seen your face like you through the years. This is your first time seeing mine, so it is right.
Awesome.
But especially about this new record, like I was really curious about, like you guys mentioned, like it's an adventurous album for you guys, and it's your heaviest yet, right? So it was that the mindset jumping into it, or did that kind of slowly reveal itself over time?
I mean, I definitely think we sort of sat down and had many conversations about, what are the reasons that our band is great in our eyes? Like what are the reasons why our band had success in the first place? You know what I mean? And I think that, kind of looking back and sort of, not like deeply looking into our catalog, but it's kind of looking back into like what felt the best. I think our biggest sort of asset was that we always sort of just created our own lane a bit. We didn't sound, like your average metal band or your average hardcore band or metalcore band. We didn't sound like your average punk rock band. Like we were kind of just like our own thing. And it was like, well, what is that thing? And that to us, it was sort of like, obviously rooted in heavy music and hardcore and metal. I think that, the big sort of almost pop chorus is a big part of our DNA, and like guitars are our DNA. And it was like, well, let's make sure that all of those things are just shining at all times. And we sort of went into influence with also just like, and I don't say this to like talk shit, but like sort of just a disdain and like a bit of a boredom with the modern kind of climate. Like there's a lot of great bands out there. There's Bad Omens and 0936 and Wage War and Bring Me, and there's bands that are doing their own thing, but then there's just like 500 other ones that are just trying to do that because it's popular. And it just kind of like got to us where we're like, we need to make sure we're as far away from anything that is like cool right now as possible, for better or worse. You know what I mean? It's a weird decision, I know, to be like, let's do whatever's not cool, but it was just like trying to just sort of forge our own lane again and just kind of like get away from the norm. Even like with the production style that we took on this new record, like it's very much raw and sort of the way we used to make records, like the drum, there's no drum samples. Like the drum samples are from us going back, getting our own samples. There's no, like the guitars are real amps, you know what I mean? Like we shot out, 7, 8 different amps, including like digital versions. And it was like, oh, like Dan's old Marshall and his old this, that he had, when he was in high school and it was just like trying to just go back to just create something that stood out in the landscape. Because I think that's what was really special about, especially our first 2 albums, was that they just stood out. They didn't sound like anything, so sonically or just song wise. So it was really just kind of having all that in mind, and then everything else just flowed from where, from that place.
That's great. That's great to see how it evolved too. And it all comes full circle too. Like you said, you try all these new types of sounds, new elements, new production qualities, and it all comes back to, what made ATREYU in the first place too.
For sure. And we've always been an adventurous band and we try new things on every album. We're always kind of like throwing in, a surprise or a weird hard left turn on every album on purpose. And it was, sometimes though it's kind of good to go back home for a second and like kind of visit some things that are more familiar to us too. And also for fans.
Yeah, 100%. And I mean, considering how many albums you guys have out, I'm sure it would be easy to, drop a quote unquote safe ATREYU album. So like, was there a moment that, you guys would have like that you thought would like or realized you were going to challenge or, push the territory into surprising some of the longtime fans?
Absolutely. I think too, like we were kind of coming from a place where, since led sales, we've been, people have been screaming the sellout card at us, which is like hilarious because like go yourself. But quite frankly, but like, so no matter what we do, someone's going to have a problem with it. And it was really like, we need to just turn off the outside and just only care about the opinions in the room, like to the point where like our record label didn't know we made a record until it was done. Like
Okay.
they didn't like we called them and said, "Hey, we want to come play your album." And they're like, "What are you talking about?" And we're like, "The album's finished. It's mixed. It's done." And they were like, "What the are you talking about?" like so it was like, you know what I mean? Like really turning off everything. And we've definitely had more conversations and sort of were more methodical about the process we were about to get into than ever before. We sort of always just kind of get in the studio and it's like shoot from the hip and just whatever. And this was really the first time we've ever like really sat down and been like, well, what do we want? Like, what do we want from our band? Where do we want our band to go? Like, what do we want the band to be? And it was kind of cool to like sort of dissect yourself a bit.
That's great. That's great. And I love that you even mentioned at the Toronto show, you quoted it before playing one of the newer songs. You don't want any new song energy in the room too, which is
Yeah.
a great way to put it. Like I know Toronto can be that type of scene too, where it's you stand in the back with your beer, arms crossed, and you're here for the old music. I'm sure you get that pretty
Yeah,
frequently in a lot of other cities, right?
for sure. Absolutely. I mean, Toronto, I mean, you were there. That show was absolute madness, but which
Yeah.
Canada always delivers like that. But yeah, I mean, and it's to us too. It was like, to me, like at the time, Dead was the only song we had out, and we put that song out first on purpose. Like to us, that song is everything that we and also an Atreyu fan could ever want out of our band. We feel
Yep.
like so. It was like when this shit starts, like don't fucking stand there because I know because you shouldn't stand there. It's funny because like we're getting older, I'm 42. Like there are some shows I go to and I just want to stand, with my beer. Like I went to Bad Omens last night. I was like very comfortable in like one of the boxes at the arena, but it was like, hey, let's go down on the floor for a few songs. I want to like feel it and I want to stand there and I want to like feel energy. Like I still will go to a show if I love the band and I'll fucking go crazy. You know what I mean? It's like so like I it's definitely like the new song energy thing. It was funny because the second I said it, everyone knew exactly what we were talking about. And then
Yeah.
they're like, "Shit!"
All the arms come uncrossed.
Yeah, they're like, "All right, fine. I'll drop a bead of sweat off my forehead."
Totally, totally. Honestly, like I'm down to my last 100 knee bends too, but I was in that pit for the entire show, man. You can't not be, right?
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Love it, man. But even with the new record too, was there like any lyric or any particular moment of any of the records, even the unreleased stuff so far, that kind of like hit you differently now than when you first wrote it?
Um, I feel like yeah, I feel like there's a lot more. I feel like in the past we write a lot of music. That it would be like we're sitting in the room and be like, oh, I had this idea and it came from this feeling, and then like, we'd kind of all be like, oh, like I understand that, I felt that before. Let's write about that general feeling, right? I think there was a lot more on this record that was like, this is something specific that happened. You know what I mean? And it was the first time we'd ever done that, and first time we'd ever written like that. And like for me, a lot of it was like very personal. You know what I mean? Like there's songs on the album that have direct correlation to something that like happened or was said. Like there's a song called Afterglow that is about like it all came from me going to the studio, and my youngest daughter kept having a really hard time because she kept thinking I wasn't coming back. You know what I mean? So it's like trying to make your 7-year-old or 6-year-old at the time understand that like, no, I'm just going for a few weeks, I'm coming back. And like there's lyrics in that song that are like, it's like, I'll meet you tonight in our dreams. Like we've had conversations where she's having a hard time on the phone and it's like, well, no, let's meet up in our dreams. Like, where do you want to go? And we have this game of like, oh, let's at Disneyland, I'll meet you at the store on the corner at Main Street and we'll go there and then we'll go on Small World. And it's like, I'll meet you there. And it's that way of trying to connect to the kid, but it's like writing that song, I'm in fucking tears. You know what I mean? Because it's like, this is something that's actually happened to me. Like there's a song called Break the Glass that is the last song on the record, like in just out of COVID, like it was like January 2nd or 3rd, 2021. I like had an accident. I fell on a glass and cut my arm open and uh, should have died. I should have bled out. And the only
Yeah.
reason I didn't is because the ambulance that the paramedic just so happened to be at the fire station 5 minutes down the street. If they weren't there that night, it would have taken them an hour and a half to get to me, and I probably would have died. Those lyrics in that song that are exact perspective of like what happened in that moment between like myself and my wife. My mom was there. My daughter caught her foot on the glass at the same time, and there's like real things. So it's like there's just more of like a real and legitimate perspective from these songs. So they definitely were more sort of deeply connected.
That's great. And I love how art can go from extreme levels of complete metaphors all down to exact realism down to
Yeah,
its core. Like that's what
absolutely,
real art comes from, right?
for sure, for sure.
Like even for me specifically as a fan too, like I'm a personal student of like stoicism myself. And in All For You, a lyric that really stood out to me was there's a million ways to die, but I chose to survive.
Yeah.
Can you like elaborate a little bit on the meaning of that lyric?
I mean, absolutely. I mean, there's, I think like that one is such a straightforward thing that lyric is really connecting with people. And I thought that it would, but it's connecting more than I thought. But it's like there's a million reasons to give up. There's a million ways to give up and on anything, whether that's a relationship or your career or, your health or anything but like the only reason why you won't fail or is if you decide not to. You know what I mean? So it's like the kind of thing where you have to really make a conscious effort. Like people are in control of their own destiny. And it's like a lot of times there's a million reasons and things from the outside or inside just telling you that things shouldn't happen or things need to end, but they don't need to. If you decide if you don't want it to, it's not happening.
Yeah. And sometimes it takes people like your words for them to hear it, to understand it on that level too. Like heavy music is widely known from coming from the real life trauma, the reflection of life and your growth in general as a human being too. So
For sure.
I'm sure I could say for everybody watching too that we love and appreciate that you guys have given that to us as fans, right?
Awesome, man. Thank you. Thank you.
And how does that feel too? Like when you walk up on stage now, knowing that you've been through life with these people on, the good and the bad in their lives.
I mean, it's awesome. It's like I said to you earlier, like we grew up together. Like we all started this band. Like when I turned 18 on our first tour, like we were all in our late teens, early 20s when we started this band. And it's the kind of thing where like we've been fortunate enough to have a really long, wonderful career so far that is far from over. But a lot of our fans have been around for 20 years, and it's like they were teenagers, going to shows and being young and doing young people shit, with us at the beginning. And now just like us, they're married, they have kids, and it's funny. We always joke. We're like, this is so great, man. Like now all of our fans have like jobs and can afford to come to our shows. Like
Yeah,
they don't
no
have to ask their
kidding.
parents for money anymore for t-shirts. But
Honestly, yeah.
yeah, but it's a cool thing. I think we're in a really cool place. The fact that we've been a band for so long that like I think there's a deeper connection with our fans too, because like I just said, like we've literally grown up together. You've watched us grow up from our late teens, early 20s to now being grown adults with families and everything. And like I just said too, like a lot of these people are in the same boat with us. There's definitely a connection there that's special.
I love that. Like it's very much a connection through the art too. And obviously we grew up together too. And not to mention you grew up with your bandmates, right? So growing up and like with life challenges, things that are thrown at you left, right, and center, how does that affect the dynamics between, the loving family dynamics of your band? And like how do you guys navigate all of that being together for so long?
I mean, I think now too, more than ever, like I think we're closer now than we've ever been. I think that as we've gone on, we've sort of just like the respect and sort of like as cheesy as it sounds, like brotherhood in the band has grown and grown and grown to where like our families are all entwined. Like my kids come out on tour and everyone loves it, and they love seeing their uncles, and the uncles love spending time with them, and like there's really like a true connection. And like when we make records, like if I go to LA or we do something, we're all staying at Dan's house. If we're doing something in Nashville, we're all staying at my house and we're cooking dinner together and hanging out. And it's like one of those things where it's all so intertwined. And I think that so many people that are in bands, I think that there's this like weird stigma that it's like, this is work and it has to be miserable and you have to miss things and you have to whatever. It's like, no, you don't. Like if you're doing this with the right people and everyone has the same vision, like everything can coexist. You know, you don't have to miss out on everything, and no one in my band wants to miss out on their lives and their families and everything. So it's like we all understand that we're kind of in it together. You know.
Yeah, that's a great way to wrap it up too, with in it together too. Like that's really all it comes down to too, especially in the entertainment industry. If you're not having fun, there's something going wrong there, at the end of the day, right?
There's no point.
Yeah.
There's no, you know what I mean? Like we have a very firm stance in like if it's not exciting and fun, like we're probably not interested. At this point in the game. So that's why, I mean, that's why we're making records like we are. That's why we're writing in the places that we are. That's why we're touring the way we tour. So we're in this for the long haul. So it's got to be fun or it doesn't exist.
I love that. And that kind of leads me into like what I was thinking about success for bands too. Like it usually starts out where, a new band, like their goals are to get signed, to blow up in the new record and, basically sell some records. I mean, we're not even going to talk about streaming rates or anything like that these days.
Yeah.
That's a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
But what does success mean to you guys at this point now then?
I mean, for us, it's like we've sort of we're a band that's conquered so many milestones that we're proud of. But the reality is we have so much more, so many more. Like it doesn't really matter. I think in life in general, not just being in a band, but like you can climb a mountain always to just realize there's a taller mountain. You know what I mean? And it's like we still have so much to achieve. There's places in the world we've never played. There's venues we've never headlined. There's festivals we've never headlined. So it's like for us, like the hunger is there to just keep going. And I think in this day and age, like back in the day, I was having a conversation last night actually with a friend of mine where like I feel like earlier in our career, you could have a record that didn't do great and it could end you. It was so much more fickle. Where like I think music culture these days is so much more fluid and there's so much going on that like you could put out an album and it can do so fucking good and the next album could be nothing. Or on the opposite side, you can put out an album that sort of flops and then the song you release after that puts you in arenas. Like, so it's kind of like not focusing on that and just sort of like focusing more on forward motion. You know what I mean? Than just like specific things. Cause it's like as long as we keep pushing forward and keep doing what we're doing, like things will continue to grow. Things will continue to happen, But I think the biggest thing I mean, at the time it was necessary, but us going on hiatus was our biggest mistake because we stopped. If you stop energy, there's nothing, no more energy creates. So it's like
Totally.
for us, it's just like keeping things rolling and right now we're just kind of bit by bit, like checking things off the list.
100%. And honestly, like with, I don't know, I think there's about 100,000 songs that are released a day at this point too. It's
Yeah.
very easy to get lost in the mix, regardless of how big you are too, right? So
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys felt that with the hiatus.
For sure. I mean, and absolutely. And in this day and age too, I mean, we're very fortunate. Like we put out All For You on the same day and week as Wage War put out a new song, Beartooth put out a new song, Bill Murray put out a new song with frickin' Day to Remember. Like there's all these things going
Yeah.
on. We're lucky enough that like, you know, our song is still fighting the good fight. It's in the mix. It's competing with all these people and kind of hanging in the same club. And it's like that feels great. 20 something odd years in, it's like that feels awesome.
Totally. And like all your peers around you too, even like through the incestual bands that are created through all the other bands that break up and form new
Yeah,
projects too. And
for
you
sure.
guys are still here as Atreyu. So love that.
Absolutely.
So I have one more question for you. Speaking of all the records that you guys have done over the years, if there's someone that finds you guys through this new record, is there one particular song out of the entire catalog that you can pick that can summarize Atreyu?
Out of the new record or the whole catalog?
Out of the entire catalog. If they found you in this new record, what is something that you'd recommend to check out from Atreyu
To go to next. Okay.
Yeah.
I would say I would give them. I think my answer for this usually is Becoming the Bull.
Okay.
Because Becoming the Bull to me has the middle ground of both. Like if you found us on The End Is Not the End, then you're definitely getting the more metal heavy side of things. But like Becoming the Bull has sort of the big like rock chorus, but also is heavy and has the energy. So that's usually a go-to. I've gotten this sort of similar question in like meet and greets and stuff sometimes, and my answer is usually becoming the bull.
Okay. So we're sticking with that.
It's either that or drowning. Drowning is also
Ooh, okay.
a good.
Yeah.
To me, drowning is like a good like. Oh, this is what this band sounds like. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yeah. And it shows the progress through the years too. Like there's a little bit of everything. I love that.
For sure.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you again for taking the time. It was so great chatting with you.
Absolutely.
And I honestly can't wait to see you guys when you're back in Toronto again.
Absolutely. We'll be back. Thanks for having me, man.